Imagine if everything you thought you knew about the universe, the stars, the planets, even space itself, was just one small part of something much bigger. What if there were whole layers of reality hidden right next to us, but too tiny for our eyes to ever see? Well, recent discoveries coming from the James Webb Space Telescope and Google's quantum computing team are making scientists wonder if that's exactly what's going on. Strange patterns of light way out in deep space don't match anything our best physics can explain. Some experts are saying it could be the first real signs of extra dimensions, real ones, folding around our own. And if that's true, it could change everything, from the way we think about gravity to the way we understand time itself. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on one of the most exciting scientific mysteries of our time. Stick around, because what's happening right now could be the first step toward proving there's far more to reality than we ever imagined. For a long time, scientists have believed that the universe we see, the galaxies, the stars, the endless blackness, is all there is. We've used powerful telescopes, giant particle colliders, and even complex math to try to piece together how everything works. But deep down, there's always been this feeling that something doesn't quite add up. Gravity, for example, is way weaker than it should be compared to other forces like electromagnetism, and the mysteries of dark matter and dark energy still hang over us like unanswered questions. Now, things might finally be changing. Thanks to the James Webb Space Telescope's sharp new eyes and Google's cutting-edge quantum computers, scientists are noticing strange things in deep space, things that regular computers would have missed completely. Light from distant galaxies isn't behaving the way our physics textbooks say it should. There are tiny differences, tiny clues hidden in the patterns of light that hint at something bigger going on. Some of the brightest minds in physics are starting to ask, what if those strange patterns are signs of extra dimensions? Not science fiction, not just an idea for movies? Real, physical dimensions, wrapped up so tightly we can't see them. And if that's the case, we're standing at the edge of a discovery that could change our entire understanding of reality. In this video, we're going to break down what's been found, why it matters, and what it could mean for the future of science. No complicated math, no heavy jargon, just the amazing story of how a telescope, a quantum computer, and a few curious scientists might have opened the door to hidden dimensions. To really understand how huge this discovery could be, we first need to look at what the James Webb Space Telescope actually found. When it was pointed at a distant part of space called the Abell 2744 galaxy cluster, sometimes called Pandora's cluster, Webb captured some of the clearest images we've ever seen from that far away. These weren't just ordinary pictures. Webb uses infrared light, which can pass through cosmic dust, allowing it to spot things hidden from other telescopes like Hubble. At first, the images looked incredible but normal. Galaxies swirling, clusters shining brightly, the usual beautiful chaos of deep space. But when Google's quantum computing team got their hands on the data, things took an unexpected turn. They ran the images through special quantum algorithms designed to pick up patterns that regular computers might miss. And that's exactly what happened. They started seeing tiny, strange distortions in the light. These distortions didn't match what traditional physics said should be there. Normally, when light travels across the universe, it bends and stretches in very predictable ways because of gravity and cosmic expansion. But in these images, there were tiny extra shifts, tiny wrong turns the light seemed to be taking that no one could explain. At first, the team double-checked everything. Was it a mistake in the telescope? Was it a glitch in the data? They even looked for known cosmic phenomena like gravitational lensing, where massive objects like galaxies can bend light. But none of those explanations fit. These distortions were different. That's when things got even more interesting. When they compared these strange light patterns to predictions made by string theory, one of the biggest ideas in modern physics, they noticed something shocking. String theory suggests that our universe might actually have extra dimensions, but they're curled up so small that we can't see them. And if that's true, those hidden dimensions could subtly change how light moves through space. The distortions in the Webb images lined up almost perfectly with what string theory says would happen if extra dimensions were real. This wasn't just one galaxy either. When they expanded their search across multiple clusters, they saw the same patterns repeating over and over again. It was like finding the same fingerprint at different crime scenes, a sign that something bigger was going on. Of course, the scientists didn't jump to conclusions. In science, especially with something this big, you have to be careful. They published their findings and immediately opened the door for other researchers to test and challenge their results. Right now, teams at places like MIT, Caltech, and Princeton are digging into the data, trying to confirm if these light patterns are really what they seem. But if these findings hold up, if more eyes and more tests keep showing the same thing, we might be looking at the first real evidence that our universe isn't just three-dimensional after all. It could mean that hidden layers of reality are right here, wrapped around us, shaping everything from gravity to the formation of galaxies without us even noticing. Now you might be wondering, how exactly did the researchers spot these hidden signs when nobody else did before? The answer lies in the incredible power of quantum computing. Traditional computers, the kind we use every day, work with simple bits, either a 1 or a 0. Every calculation they do is a series of yes or no questions, moving through them one by one. It's fast, but it has limits, especially when the problems get extremely complex, like looking for faint patterns in a sea of random cosmic data. Quantum computers, however, play by different rules. Instead of just yes or no, their basic units, called qubits, can be yes, no, and even both at the same time. Think of it like being able to check hundreds of paths through a maze all at once, instead of trying them one by one. This gives quantum computers an enormous edge when it comes to spotting extremely subtle clues hidden deep inside mountains of information. Google's quantum research team designed specific algorithms aimed at finding small, almost invisible connections in Webb's deep space images, connections that normal computers would just shrug off as background noise. And when they applied these algorithms to the images of Able 2744 and other galaxy clusters, those tiny distortions in the light suddenly stood out. What they saw were patterns, faint, consistent fingerprints, showing up in places where physics says nothing unusual should happen. These weren't random glitches. They followed a shape, a logic, a mathematical structure that perfectly fits what some string theory models predict when higher dimensions press against our own. This is where Dr. Lisa Randall's work becomes very important. She's one of the leading physicists who spent years trying to figure out ways to detect extra dimensions without needing to build impossible experiments the size of entire planets. One of her ideas is that gravity, unlike light or magnetism, might be able to leak into these extra dimensions. Normally, gravity feels very weak compared to other forces. For example, a tiny fridge magnet can easily defeat the entire gravitational pull of the Earth just by picking up a paperclip. One reason for this weakness, Dr. Randall suggests, could be that gravity is spreading out into extra dimensions we can't see. And if that's happening, it could create very faint disturbances, like what we're seeing in the Webb images. The anomalies Google's team detected match this idea shockingly well. In places where the light should have traveled smoothly, it seems to have been pulled or shifted slightly, just enough to catch when you're looking with the right tools and enough precision. To make sure these patterns weren't just a one-time thing, the quantum researchers tested their methods on different sets of images. They adjusted their algorithms. They even added noise to the data to see if the patterns would disappear. But the patterns stayed. No matter what they did, the same strange signatures kept showing up, like a quiet whisper from a hidden part of the universe. This finding has sparked a new wave of interest in the physics community. Not everyone is convinced yet, of course. That's how good science works. Some researchers are cautiously optimistic, while others are working hard to find alternative explanations. Maybe some unknown quantum effect. Maybe something about the way the telescope processes data. But so far, no simple answer has emerged. At the same time, many teams at top universities are now setting up their own tests. They're developing independent quantum algorithms, looking at the same Webb data from different angles. Some are even asking for more telescope time to take new images of these strange regions of space, just to be absolutely sure the effect is real. What's exciting is that we might not have to wait years to get answers. Because of the importance of this discovery, journals are fast-tracking the peer review process. New papers could come out in just a few months, either confirming or challenging these early findings. And if more evidence piles up, it could lead to one of the biggest shifts in physics we've ever seen. Just imagine. For centuries, humans believed the Earth was the center of everything. Then we learned we orbit the sun. Later, we discovered our solar system is just a tiny part of a massive galaxy, and even that galaxy is just one of trillions. Each time, our view of reality expanded. This could be the next step, realizing that even the three dimensions we live in are just part of something much larger and deeper. And it's not just a cool idea for sci-fi movies. If these extra dimensions are real, they could solve some of the biggest mysteries in science today. They might explain why gravity behaves so differently compared to other forces. They might even give us real answers about dark matter and dark energy, two things that seem to make up about 95% of the universe, yet have never been directly seen. In short, quantum computing didn't just give us a faster calculator. It opened a new window into the universe, a window that might be showing us a hidden structure of reality itself. Now let's get into what this could actually mean if it turns out to be real, and why scientists are both incredibly excited and honestly a little nervous. First, if extra dimensions are proven to exist, it would completely change everything we thought we knew about how the universe works. I don't mean it would just add a few footnotes to science books. I mean we would have to rethink the basic rules of reality itself. For over 100 years, scientists have built up a model called the Standard Model. It's basically the best recipe we have for understanding the tiny building blocks of everything. Atoms, forces, particles, all that. It's pretty solid. It explains a lot of things really well. But there's always been one huge problem: gravity. Gravity doesn't fit neatly into the Standard Model. It's way weaker than the other forces, and nobody's really sure why. You can flick a paperclip with your finger and beat the gravitational pull of the entire Earth, which doesn't really make sense when you think about it. Now here's where it gets wild. If gravity is actually spreading out into other hidden dimensions, that would explain why it seems so weak to us. It's not that gravity is broken, it's that we've been looking at it wrong this whole time. Imagine shouting into a big empty canyon and hearing your voice echo all around you. You wouldn't blame your voice for sounding different. It's the space around you that's changing it. Gravity might be doing the same thing, leaking into spaces we can't see, and that's why it feels so faint compared to other forces like electromagnetism. But that's just the beginning. If extra dimensions are real, it might solve one of the biggest mysteries in the universe: dark matter. Right now, scientists know that dark matter exists because they can see how it pulls on galaxies and bends light. But nobody's ever been able to actually find it or touch it. It's like there's a ghostly presence shaping the universe, and we can only see its effects. If matter can exist partly in other dimensions, it could explain why dark matter is invisible. It might not be made of particles like the ones we're used to. It could be the shadowy influence of real stuff existing in higher dimensions, just slightly out of our reach. Almost like catching the edge of someone's reflection in a mirror without seeing the person. Before now, that idea seemed too strange to take seriously. But now it's not looking so strange anymore. And then there's dark energy. That one's even weirder. Dark energy is the thing that's making the universe expand faster and faster. It's like there's a hidden hand pushing everything apart. Nobody knows what it is or where it comes from. Some theories suggest that energy from extra dimensions could be bleeding into our universe, and that extra push is what we feel as dark energy. Think about that for a second. What if the universe isn't just a passive place where things float around? What if it's connected to something bigger, and the movements we're seeing, galaxies racing away from each other, are the ripple effects of things happening in spaces we can't even detect yet? But it's not all just mind-blowing discoveries and cool ideas. There's a darker side too. Some scientists have started wondering, if these extra dimensions are real, are they stable? Or could they shift or collapse someday? In some models, if the extra dimensions change even slightly, it could have devastating effects on our universe. The laws of physics as we know them could change instantly. Planets could drift apart, atoms could stop holding together, In short, reality could fall apart in ways we can't even fully imagine. Now, don't panic. The chances of something like that happening soon are incredibly tiny. These kinds of cosmic events would play out over billions of years if they happen at all. But just the fact that it's even a possibility shows how delicate everything really is. It's humbling, isn't it? We spend our lives thinking we're standing on solid ground. But in truth, we might be perched on the surface of something much bigger and much stranger. And speaking of the future, this discovery could eventually lead to technologies that seem like pure fantasy right now. If scientists figure out how to interact with extra dimensions, even in the smallest ways, it could open the door to things like faster than light travel. Right now, traveling to even the nearest stars would take thousands of years with today's technology. But if you could slip through an extra dimension, kind of like finding a shortcut or a wormhole, you could cross vast distances in a blink. It could also lead to breakthroughs in communication. Imagine being able to send information instantly across the universe, without having to wait for signals to crawl at the speed of light. That could change everything, from deep space exploration to everyday life. Of course, we're not there yet. These are early days. Right now, the focus is just on confirming whether these extra dimensions even exist. Scientists will have to run countless tests, check and double-check their work, and try to rule out every other explanation before they can say for sure. But even if it takes years, even if it's incredibly hard, the door has been opened. And once it's open, human curiosity doesn't let it close again. We're at the edge of something bigger than any one discovery. We're looking at a whole new way of understanding the universe and our place inside it. And maybe, just maybe, when we finally figure it all out, we'll realize that we were never truly alone in this vast cosmos. We were just seeing one side of a much larger, much richer reality. So where does this leave us? At the end of the day, if these findings hold up, it means we're standing at the threshold of a discovery so big, it could completely rewrite everything we know about reality. It's one thing to imagine that extra dimensions exist, tucked away just beyond our reach, but it's something else entirely to think that we might have just found the first evidence of them. The potential is staggering, from new understandings of gravity to explanations for the mysteries of dark matter and dark energy. These hidden dimensions could give us answers to some of the biggest questions in science. We might finally begin to understand why the universe behaves the way it does, why galaxies behave the way they do, why gravity feels weaker than the other forces, and why some things we can't even see seem to be driving the universe's growth. But beyond that, it's the sheer excitement of a new frontier, a new chapter in human knowledge, one that could open the doors to technologies and discoveries we've only dreamed of. Things like faster than light travel or instantaneous communication might sound like science fiction today, but with the right breakthroughs, they could become reality. And it all comes back to this, that something far bigger might be happening just beyond the dimensions we can see, waiting for us to catch up. But of course, we're still in the early stages. The scientific community is moving cautiously, testing these findings, verifying them, and checking every angle. For now, what we know is that there's a glimmer of something extraordinary out there. And no matter what, we're getting closer to understanding the true nature of the universe. For now, all we can do is watch and wait. With every new image from the James Webb Space Telescope, and with every new breakthrough in quantum computing, we inch closer to answers we never even thought to ask. Maybe, just maybe, the universe has a few more surprises waiting for us. Surprises that could change the course of human history forever. So let's keep our eyes open, because we're living through a time where everything could change, and the next big discovery might be just around the corner. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of the amazing updates we'll be bringing to you, and make sure your notifications are on. We're on the brink of some incredible changes in how we understand our universe, and you won't want to miss a single step.